Hi, my name is Zach Fisher, and welcome to another Tech Talk. Today, I'm going to be talking about Green Plum and um, Green Plum building blocks. Why would a company use Green Plum? That is a question I'd like to help answer. And why would a company use Green Plum building blocks? And a good example of a company that might want to use Green Plum is, say, a jet engine manufacturer who has lots of different types of data that his jet engine is producing, structured, unstructured, semi-structured data. And they want something with some kind of database and database system that has a lot of different ways to search it, that's extremely scalable and has high performance characteristics. So they would likely be looking at something that is massively parallel processing, which means that the work of the database queries gets spread out between multiple nodes. So what that really means is, like, if I have a large set of data that I need to look at, I have a large amount of data. Say I have a million cat pictures that I want to look at, and I have 10 interns, and each of those interns can look at a certain number of cat pictures per hour. Well, that's great. But if I have 100 interns and I split up that million by 100 times instead of 10 times, that'll make that 10 times, that process of looking through those cat pictures 10 times faster. So being able to do that is essentially, that's what a massively parallel database, massively parallel processing database system is, and that's what Green Plum is. So it's a great use case for any kind of machine learning, AI, general querying of large sets of data, which is what we're looking at right now when we're looking at aviation, large amounts of aviation data from the jet engines. Now, we also want something that has a large amount of built-in queries, built-in tools that we can use to both feed data into this database and this database system, as well as query it and get information out of it. So we're looking for something that has a large amount of tools there. And then we've decided that we want to look at PostgreSQL. It's actually the highest growing database. It grew by, I think, 30% last year. So PostgreSQL is the database that we've decided on, and it's essentially an open source version of SQL, which is an extremely popular database as well. So that's why we decided to use Green Plum. Now, why would we use, what kind of solution on Green Plum would we use? Green Plum can essentially be deployed anywhere. It can be deployed in the cloud, on a container. It can be deployed on bare metal servers. It can be deployed essentially anywhere. So what are we looking to do? Well, we're looking to, because this data is so important to us, we really want to keep it on premise. We want to be able to deploy this system very, very easily. And we want the system's characteristics, and we want the system's configuration to be optimized. So that is why we are going to use Dell EMC and Pivotal Greenplum's joint offering called Greenplum Building Blocks. It offers, a on-premise solution that is optimized for performance as well as cost. It is essentially the evolution of our previous offering in this space, which was Dell EMC Greenplum. It's been evolved into Greenplum Building Blocks, which essentially adds higher network connectivity, meaning 40 gig instead of 10 gig. It offers NVMe, which speeds up the whole system, as well as higher core count. So what has this done? That's really what the next generation is. And Greenplum Building Blocks has been tested, like I said, by both Dell EMC and Pivotal. They've tested hundreds of configurations and come down to this is the most optimized config. It has the optimized performance costs ratio, and it comes pre-installed. Actually, not pre-installed. You get the installation included with the system. So Dell EMC and Pivotal are installing the system, racking the system, stacking the system, and Dell EMC and Pivotal are both part of Dell technology. So essentially, it is a single throat to choke with this on-premise solution, which is makes things a lot easier for the customer. So you think about it, as much as people have mixed feelings about Apple, and myself included, what they do well is they create systems that are very well integrated between the hardware and the software. And that's what we were doing with Pivotal and Dell EMC with Greenplum Building Blocks. So let's look at just an example to see kind of in graph format how much faster this is from its previous generation. If you look at Greenplum Building Blocks versus, and I think this was a performance configuration versus Greenplum DCA v3 performance configuration, it's about twice as high of a TPC-DS score. That's essentially a open source performance characteristic testing mechanism or benchmark mechanism. And you can see it's much faster than the AWS EVS extra large configuration as well. So you can really get this config to scream. And what it really looks like essentially is you've got your starting point, which is essentially a couple of R740s as your master and your standby node. Everything is highly available. You can see that the interconnect switches are 40 gigabytes. We've gone to 40 gigabytes, and that's also helped the throughput here. So what's unique to Greenplum Building Blocks? These are all off-the-shelf hardware. I don't know if I mentioned it before, but it's essentially Dell servers, Dell storage, storage shelves, and Dell switches. So it's all Dell PowerEdge. And that's an example of a multi-rack deployment, which obviously you can do. A starter block, for example, would be a starter config might be something along these lines. And you have the ability to expand for future growth. You can kind of see what the nodes are in this system. And then you kind of have a few different options here from configuration standpoint. You have the the smaller configuration, you have a medium configuration, you have a high throughput configuration, and then you got just your straight up starter. So there's a lot of flexibility within this configuration, but it's also these configurations, but they're also optimized for your performance and your cost. Then another cool thing about this is, we actually we also force the customers to get the Green Plum building blocks installation along with it, which means that you get the install, you get the rack and stack, you get some project management along with it, and you get all these things to ensure that your Green Plum installation works and is seamlessly deployed. So overall, Green Plum building blocks is essentially the on-premise solution that Dell EMC and Pivotal put together, that's tested, deployed, and supported through one single vendor. And it's the next version of VCA, and they've increased essentially all of their hardware capabilities in this most recent release. So that's why somebody would use Green Plum building blocks. Once again, my name is Zach Fisher. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Have a good day.